Hello, I'm Leslie Anderson, and I'd like to invite you to join me at Art on Oak on Saturday and Sunday, November 2nd and 3rd at Second Presbyterian Church. This year we're doing something different. I found the last piece of handmade paper that Keith had done, and we are auctioning it off. All the proceeds are going back to Art on Oak. And if you have any questions about how to bid on the piece, go to our website, please. The other thing that I'd like to mention is a lot of people have asked me how he's done his artwork. Well, in 2004, Keith was filmed by HGTV's Crafters Coast to Coast. And I can't think of a better person than Keith himself to explain how he's made his pulp paintings. Take it away, Keith.
So here's what we're going to make today. I call it Birch Trees at Sunset, and I make it right here in my own garage, so come on inside with me and I'll show you how it's done. Okay, now we're in my studio. I had to move down here after I got kicked out of the kitchen, which is right above me, but you'll see I took a few things with me. My blender, some running water in a 5-gallon bucket, a couple of turkey basters. So this is where the magic begins. I start with cotton linter. It's just like cardboard, but it's made out of cotton and it's really thick. Now what I'll do is I'll tear it up a little bit more and I'll put it in the blender with some water. There you go, you're making paper. Now you've got your initial white pulp made and you're ready to start dyeing it. The next step is to add what they call retention agent, and that is what pulls the dye into the fiber. But I just put a little bit in. Then you blend it one more time. So now I'm ready for the fun to begin. I start with making some red pulp for our birch trees, and I put on some gloves from the hardware store so I don't get caught red-handed. These are pure pigment and they're organic and they're color-fast dyes. So I take out some of the red and I put it right into the blender. I dab some in, I'm going to put a little bit more in. Red, you need more dye than you do for other colors. I take the pulp and I pour it into a strainer. The formerly white pulp is now red. And now I'm going to show you how to toss this like pizza dough. Here's what the pulp looks like. So you can pull it apart, you can see the fibers, you can see the texture to it. Keep your gloves on when you're doing this, by the way. And then you put it in just a white container and you fill it with water. Then I take the turkey baster and I swirl it around in there, emulsifying, that's the technical term. Now I'm ready to draw with pulp. Kind of like the mad scientist all alone down here in my laboratory. All right, here's the turquoise, here's the burnt orange, magenta, bright orange with a little bit of yellow thrown in, dark green. Can't have enough acid green. Let's take our pulps outside and make a picture. Bonjour mes amis, welcome to Kansas City, as they say en français. I'm showing you a little bit of impressionism with handmade paper. I've got my palette, but it's not what you'd expect. I've got a little bit of pulp, I've got my turkey baster, got some old window screens, and I've got a butter knife that is not a toy, so be careful if you try this at home. What you do with your old window screen you've got right here, you take this, and I just start slopping it onto the screen. What I typically do, though, is I kind of go around the edges and make a little bit of a dam around the edge. So it has the viscosity of, oh, you know, it's like egg drop soup, you know? See how it just drips down? But I wouldn't eat it. I'm not that good of a cook. And I usually just pour a coat of white first because that makes the overall picture stronger. I can see the picture as it evolves and develops, but also it's serendipity. You never know where the water's going to drain, if you're going to end up with a hole in the middle of the picture. They're not all a success. Just last week, actually, I had the whole picture done on the window screen, stood it up to dry, and the whole thing just peeled right off the screen and fell flat on the garage floor. All I did was scoop it up, put it back in the blender, and we're back to where we started. I start to pour the background that will be on the birch picture. Now, if you look deep into a forest, a lot of times you'll see purple shadows. I'm working my way up to the top of the trees. I also like to have a little bit of yellow for that yellow sky. And I'm ready to start putting on the birch trees. Birch trees are all squiggly. Pull out my handy-duty butter knife. I scooch the edges up like this. No birch forest is pure birches, so I'm going to put in some dark limbs and branches. So I've got a dark purple here that's a nice one to work with. Again, I just squirt it, and you let the pulp decide where it's going to go. Don't be afraid of color. That's what I tell everybody. Experiment. We just saw an exhibit of Gauguin's work, and he uses green a lot in his shadows. Tops of the trees. I haven't put red in yet. So now I've got all the pulp on there, I've got the picture drawn, but you can't really tell what it looks like yet because it's not dry. And now I'll take it into the garage and I'll lean it up against the wall. All right, now that the piece is dry, I'm going to peel it off the screen and get it ready for framing. And I just take a butter knife and I just peel it up like this. It's all set. And now I take it inside and trim the rough edges, and it goes inside the frame, and we're all set to go.